Well, welcome back to the Well Below Average podcast with Nick, Adam, and Roy. I said this in the wrong order, but how are you guys doing today? We hadn't been together in a while. Throw it to you, Nick. What you got going on?
Not a lot. Things are going well. About to celebrate my daughter's birthday tomorrow. She'll be one. So I've been reflecting a lot this weekend on a year of fatherhood, which I wanted to talk about more later on. But they're good in our house. We had a birthday party yesterday. Went well. Everything went smooth. So all is well in our world.
Was that smash cake situation?
We did do the smash cake. It was mostly an icing mush, not much of a smash. There was a lot of icing. She had the icing and was just kind of going crazy with that. We barely got to the cake part, but she seemed to have fun with it either way.
Man, that's awesome, Nick. It's good to have you back. Look at Adam already working the cameras like a professional. I know we don't talk about production in the forefront, but it needs to be mentioned because Adam does so much of this stuff. It really is impressive. Yeah, man, I had a great weekend. Finally, one where we weren't required to do a whole lot. My wife didn't plan us for a whole bunch of stuff. We had a little dinner this evening at a nice burger spot, had some good sliders, and the kids are going to be very stubborn tomorrow when they have to wake back up and go back to their daycare at 7 a.m. when they've been sleeping till about 9 for the past 2 months. So I'm preparing for the hell that that's going to be in my world tomorrow morning.
It is never easy to get them on a schedule. We keep my kids on the same schedule. We raised their bedtime to 9:30, my younger ones, but it's like every day. We don't change anything unless it's
good on you. We're suckers because my wife, being a teacher, she gets that time off, a month off, so she or being in education, she just takes that time and is like, oh, well, every day is an excuse to keep the kids home. Every day, a cough is legitimate excuse enough to keep the kids home. So it's some fun you have to look forward to, Nick. And I'm sitting here thinking we're paying for this, whether we send the kids there or not. Unfortunately, you pay by the week, so send them.
Now they can sleep in? Do they have a bedtime? Like, do they stay up as late as they want, sleep as late as they want, or does bedtime stay consistent?
No, they don't. I mean, we try to get them in bed at like 9, but to be fair, we're really bad about allowing them to sleep with us. In fact, they have slept with us for their lives, right? He's 5 years old now. She's 3. So the two of them kind of demand that we lay down to sleep with them if they're going to sleep. And in many cases, my son can outlast my wife. So she'll lay down with him, read books, and he'll be awake when I come upstairs at 10:30. Like, hey, Daddy, what's going on? He's pretending to read a book, and my wife is passed out asleep next to my daughter. So it's like I said, it's going to be whether they sleep or not, I don't care, because guess what? Your ass is waking up at 6 a.m. tomorrow, and you're going to be heading off to school at 6:45, whether you like it or not. And you may have heard a scream in the background if they open me.
Oh, that's great. Sorry. I too have a daughter birthday tomorrow. Nick looks up to me, and he decided to have his daughter the same day as one of mine. So
nice.
But mine's going to be turning 11. And yeah, so
did you guys match up your consummation days to find out how close you were?
I wouldn't remember that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think I know, but I'm not positive.
Yeah, do either of you know? My daughter, my wife, and I know exactly when she was conceived. Exactly.
No, your daughter's your second, right? She's
correct.
Younger.
Correct.
So you don't you know the second, but not the first.
Yeah, son, I'm not 100% sure. We were having enough sex on a general, on a pretty regular basis that I can't be positive. That one, My second one, it is a no-brainer without a doubt. Like I could tell you the minute of the day.
That's impressive. It's impressive.
Yeah.
And I can also tell
That's
you that
not-
I was about like 20 feet in proximity from my parents.
Too early in the evening or in the show, for that matter, to peel back the layers that go with that. But I'm impressed that you remember that. I guess
man.
it's hard to forget if you're that close to your family.
If you know, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That one was a memorable one. A vacay, baby. Vacay helps. A vacay, baby.
And I'm going on vacation next week, so that'll be interesting.
You are.
Yeah, it'd be my first like real vacation my entire adult life since I was a kid. So I'm
like
nervous
gone
and,
for a week or
out of it. We're going on a cruise, so we'll be stopping in Mexico twice, Honduras, and Belize.
Oh, you're gonna have a great time. Just when you're getting good at the camera production, you're gonna pass it off to one of these bozos, me or Nick, and we're gonna screw that up. But I'll do my best to handle it in your stead if we can swing it.
Yeah.
That's really cool, though, man. Cruises are fun. Nick, you done the cruise thing?
I've actually never been on a cruise, but we booked a big before, like me, my friends from college, before any of us had kids, pre-COVID, we all booked a big cruise for March of 2020, the end of the month. And 2 weeks before we were supposed to go, COVID hit. And we were like, at the very beginning, we were like, should we still go? We weren't sure. I think I even did like a Twitter poll, like see what other people thought. And then, I think we had decided, we'll probably still go because at that point we didn't know. And then like 2 weeks later, I guess a week later, the world shut down, all cruises, canceled. We got our money back. We had like, it's like, it was like 5 or 6 couples, a lot of us all going, everything was ready. We were so pumped. It was like I think it was a 5-day cruise, something like that. I have never been, and just got canceled, and we haven't gone back. And now we all have kids, so yeah, never been on a cruise before, but it's on the list of things that we want to do.
Yeah, it's I'm nervous. I'm knock on wood here. It seems like every time I try to do anything, something bad happens. So that's like, dude, I tried to go out of town. Like I went out of town one day, like the day I was walking out of the door and my hot water heater exploded as I passed through the hallway. So just killed the water and left and came back and dealt with it a week later. And that was for kind of a work trip, church work trip. But yeah, I'm nervous because I'm a pessimist. You don't need a passport. You just need a birth certificate and ID.
That's clutch. I didn't know that. I thought you would have needed a passport for that.
Well, I thought I would have too, but
it's on the cruise line. Yeah. You doing any excursions?
We're gonna, hang out with the dolphins.
Cool. Little dolphin. Yeah. We did a cave tube. It was like a little kind of river. They put you a little hat and a light, a little spelunking thing, and you just kind of tube down a lazy river with some caves and fixtures and stuff. And then we did the very cliche zip lining deal on the cruise that we did. And it was a lot of fun, but it's worth it. It's worth it. It's probably worth it one time, but South Park does a pretty decent job when they do a parody of the experience.
Yeah. I think next time I just want to go to like Costa Rica and just book a resort and do something like that.
Oh, you're gonna have a great time, dude. You're gonna have a great time. All inclusive? Are you drinking? Do you drink?
I don't drink. No.
Okay.
My wife does, but my dad and stepmom are going, and so they're gonna buy the drink passes, and my wife will piggyback off them. So
you're gonna have a blast, bro. I wish you the best.
Gonna sit and talk sports with my dad for 7 days. Honestly, that's all that'll happen.
Okay.
But let's get to our sponsors real quick before we get more into this. I'll go first with Local Menace. Right above my head is a Dallas-based artist-owned streetwear brand. They're hell-bent on destroying your wardrobe. You could check them out at localmenace.com. You could check them out at Local Menace on the Twitter, and not the Twitter. What's the one called? I have it up here somewhere. Instagrams, yeah. Check them out, localmenace.com, and use the code on the screen, Beard Crew. You get 25% off your entire order, hats, shirts, jackets, hoodies, whatever they got. So that lets them know we sent you, and you get a nice chunk off your bill. So check out localmenace.com.
And then we've got Rodeo Coffee. They are a coffee truck, trailer truck. I don't know what you'd call it, but either way, they're right there in the Walsh neighborhood, right there in Fort Worth, kind of in the Aledo area. And I've got their July menu for you. You can go there and order some of these great drinks. They've got a coconut vanilla cinnamon latte, a snickerdoodle latte, a cinnamon roll latte, a brown sugar latte, and a lavender lemonade. Those are their July specials for this month. They've also got fabulous drip coffee. You can get their roasted beans as well. So check them out on Instagram. You can see their handle there on the screen, and tell them that we sent you over. And on the weekends, Saturdays and Sundays, they will serve breakfast tacos as well. They're open Thursday through Sunday, 7 to 11:30 out there in Walsh.
And don't forget about our last sponsor. That's Ish Beard Works. ishbeardworks.com is where you can go to get all their fantastic products. Now, as he mentioned, they're going to be closed from July 16th to the 25th, but they will be fulfilling orders beyond that. So again, go to the website, ishbeardworks.com, or you can hit Adam up on any of the social medias. You can hit us up, of course, at the Well Below Average Pod on Twitter, but you can always hit him up directly at Ish Beardworks as well on the social media scene, and get checked out, right? Get you smelling good, get your beard nice and good, nice and tame, especially here in the summertime. It's kind of crucial. If you're not familiar with those products, or you don't think you need them because you've never used them before, well, then you don't know what you're missing in that regard. So you need to check them out, especially here in the summertime.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Roy. Yeah, check out our sponsors, help us out a little bit. And I'm going to put us back in roundtable mode because we're going to get into a couple of news stories. Let me get clicked over there real quick. Not a bunch, but this is the main one I wanted to talk about because I think it's kind of a deep one on a lot of levels for us. Roy and I think we have similar dads in their conservative values, right? So there's we have some similarities there, and I think we all care about our parents, our fathers. But I found an interesting story on circulated through a lot of stuff. It is an obituary a man did for his father, and have either of y'all heard of this?
No, I hadn't.
Is this the one in which the man kind of wrote that his dad lived longer than he deserved to?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
The man in Florida, 56-year-old man, wrote an obituary and published in the paper for his dad, just roasted him. A long life. His dad lived to 81. He lived a long life, much longer than he deserved. Called him a ladies' man, an abusive alcoholic. They have, named off, maybe he leaves behind 4, maybe 5 kids. We don't really know. Yeah, just Dude. Called him a narcissist.
All right, did you pull up the actual obituary?
I don't have the actual obituary. I have the quotes from it. I couldn't find the actual one.
All right, let me read it. I'll do it quickly.
Oh, you found it?
All right,
okay.
Let's see.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Lawrence H. Paff Sr. was born in Belmont, New York on April 16, 1941. He passed away on June 27, 2022, living a long life, much longer than he deserved. He's survived by his 3 children. No, 4. Oops, 5 children. Well, as of 2022, we believe there is one more that we know about, but there could be more. His love was abundant when it came to himself, but for his children, it was limited. From a young age, he was a ladies' man and an abusive alcoholic, solidifying his commitment to both with the path of destruction he left behind, damaging his adult children and leaving them broken. Lawrence Sr.'s hobbies included abusing his first wife and children. He loved to start projects but never follow through on any of them. He enjoyed the life of a barfly for many years and had a quaint little living space studio above his favorite hole in the wall, the Club Nashville. This guy lived above a bar. Ooh, Lawrence Sr. did spend over 20 years in the NYPD, but even his time in service was negligent at best. Because of his alcohol addiction, his commanding officer took away his gun and bags, replacing them with a broom until he could get his act together. Lawrence Sr. did claim to be clean and sober for over 30 years, but never worked any of the 12 steps, including the 8th and 9th step with his children, which is making amends. He possesses no redeeming qualities for his children, including the ones he knew and the ones he knew about. It will be challenging to miss Lawrence Sr. because he was a narcissist. He was incapable of love. Lawrence Sr.'s passing proves evil does eventually die, and it marks a time of healing, which will allow his children to get the closure they deserve. Lawrence Sr. can be remembered for being a father for many and a dad to none. I hope I am ever remembered like that.
Me too.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Nick.
When you first mentioned this, like I didn't know the background. When you first mentioned this, I was like, oh, maybe this is like a father-son that had the relationship of like sarcasm, and he's like, getting a zinger on his dad one last time. I was pretty. I mean, talk about getting everything you've ever felt off your chest.
Yeah. So, like, obviously, I don't feel that way about any of my family, really. But is there anybody that you feel that bad, you dislike that much? I'm hard pressed to think of anyone.
Not to publish it.
Yeah, I mean, I've not ever been physically or emotionally abused. So had I by anyone in my life, I probably would feel like I remember that. I mean, maybe emotionally abused at some point, but it wasn't really that, work places and all, you understand. But it's not really something that I would ever expect to get to that level or ever speak on to that level. Like that is that's unresolved issues that, quite frankly, I mean, he probably got a right to express, and I don't blame him for doing so. But damn, that was a 20-year police officer in the NYPD.
Does it cost money to file an obituary? Like, did he pay for this?
That's a good question. I don't think so. I don't think it does. Mm-hmm. But then maybe, probably.
Yeah, I know papers aren't. Papers are hurting for money. I'm sure
that's probably true.
Yeah, it can't be that expensive, but heck, if you're feeling like that, I don't think there's much cost that's going to get in your way of putting that out.
Right.
So I got a funny obituary story to add on to this. I just remembered. My stepmother, who is very much alive, it's a weird thing happened. So basically, she got a false obituary put in the paper when my grandmother, my dad's mom, passed away. My stepmother called in the paper for the obituary, and they got confused and put her name there.
Wow.
And one of her friends had seen it, and then had started calling everybody and getting everybody together, and was coming over to the house to come talk to my dad and for condolences. And then they get over there, and there's my stepmom walking around. They assume she was dead.
She's like, "Hey guys, what are you over here for? What a nice surprise!"
Everybody's crying and sad, and so little misunderstanding there. I was probably 10 or 11 when that happened. So
we should all be so lucky to have people react to us as if we passed.
Yeah, but this is a world full of not that. So
well, we should be as
move on.
Mr. Lawrence Sr., but
hey, I have another story about somebody we probably shouldn't remember fondly. It's America's mayor, Rudy Giuliani. Did you see the vicious assault on him in the grocery store last week?
I can't believe
think
his
I
body held up.
scrolled past
Like,
this.
I cannot believe he didn't collapse. This was like one of those, if you've ever seen slap boxing, like where they allow the other guy to take a shot to the face and just see if they can stand up without getting knocked out. This was nothing like that. This was the most docile, gentle. I think a guy like kind of tapped him on the back to get his attention. At least according to the video that I saw. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Ish. Not a fan of Rudy Giuliani. I'll fully admit that. At the same time, this one is stretching it to call it an assault.
Yes. Well, have you seen the further news on that?
No.
He had to have a stent put into his arteries to open them up, and his representation. No, well, not his representation, but a supporter of his. It was a former mayor of some city. That is saying that it's because of that attack and the toll it took on his body. He had to have a stent put in. He had to have heart surgery because of that.
This guy, a former mayor, came to his defense because he claimed he needed heart surgery. All right, I'm sorry again. I have to pull up the story. Read this guy, whoever it is, John Katsimatidis.
Yeah, I wasn't going to try to say that.
That doesn't sound like a mob's name. The former mayoral candidate, radio host, and supermarket magnate rushed to Rudy's defense. I want you to know, this quote, I want you to know that Mayor Giuliani was in a weak state of mind because of the fact he wasn't breathing well. He's been like that for 30 days. And on Tuesday, right after that weekend, on Tuesday, he had stints put in to bring back his oxygen count up. I mean, okay, you know what you should do, Rudy? If your oxygen's bad, stay home. Just stay home. If you need rest, if you have physical ailments, you probably should not be in a supermarket talking to multiple people and having a security detail following you around.
I'm just reading the story.
Sorry, I know I'm talking a lot here, and I don't want to hog the ball. But
I was just going to say, I was reading the story. The guy that allegedly assaulted him, underrated insult, said, "What's up, scumbag?" So scumbag. You know, don't hear that one thrown around pretty often, but it's not vulgar. Like he said around kids, they're not. Nobody's getting offended by that. But underrated.
Wow. Well,
yeah.
That's heavy. That could have caused some physical pain.
He spent 24 hours in jail. He was arrested, the guy.
Yeah.
Spent the night in jail.
Are you kidding me?
Mm-mm.
Oh my
24 hours in jail.
Listen to this. Listen to this. Listen to this bullshit. No matter how hard that person hit him in the back, he felt it because of his health problems. He didn't let anybody know about his health problems except for his partner, Dr. Maria. And she said, "You have to go to the doctor." And he said, No. He kept campaigning. And obviously it took its toll. He was sweating excessively. When does he not? Side note. He was breathing heavily, and people in his proximity were mentioning that to him. They must do that to him all the time. They must tell him all the time, "You sound like you're breathing heavy. You are sweating like a pig. You look like you're in terrible health." He's looked that way for 15 years. So, how am I supposed to take that? Quote, "There was clearly a difference in his physical makeup. You could tell something was wrong with him." I don't think you or I could have.
Oh man.
Yeah. Have you off subject? Have you seen the Always Sunny episode
I
about
absolutely have.
the hair dye where
What
Frank?
they did in 2021 or 2020. Yes, it's like,
Yes.
it's an episode where they kind of do like, all right, what was the gang up to? And somehow they're involved in some way, shape, or form in every asset of like these major events that happened around the election or around like that time frame. And it's very well crafted. Very, very funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll never that, and that's the like because I was 18 when 9/11 happened, and Giuliani was a rock star. I went and saw him speak. I've seen him speak after that. Um, some kind of motivational speaking thing. So, man, he's now all I think of him is just the brown doo doo dye rolling down his cheeks at a plant
And
nursery.
I agree with that. Like that's how they basically made him. I mean, Time magazine called him the man of the year. Like he was America's mayor. But
Yeah,
there were even rumblings back then. Like you can go back and read some of the corruption allegations that were taking place at that time. They just got kind of swept under because 9/11 was such a pivotal moment in our country's history that it was more important to get the country to rally together and behind a cause than it was to like tear down the representative of that cause. So it's almost like collateral damage. You're willing to take on the corruption that he may bring to the table if collectively his influence is a positive one. And boy, you could have that conversation about so many things, right? Religion included.
oh yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. But yeah, just he's falling apart. Poor guy was assaulted, and sends our thoughts and prayers out there to him. Speaking of what, seriously, thoughts and prayers. A gentleman you've worked with for a while passed away recently. Ted Nichols Payne. I don't know
Uh,
if either of y'all want to say anything about that.
yeah. Apparently, today, this morning, if I'm not mistaken,
Oh,
suddenly, Roy, I don't know. I saw it through the Rangers. They did a press release. He was the longtime audio engineer of the Rangers broadcast, the Dallas Cowboys radio broadcast, the Fan, 1080 AM. I mean, all over the place. And pretty much anything you heard in sports radio, he probably had a hand in making it sound as good as it did. I, worked with Ted briefly in my time at the Fan, but I don't say this lightly. He was maybe the nicest person I worked with. Like when I was just a part-time, like weekend board op, nobody's up in the building and it's just you and, random people walking around. Ted would be up there, getting some equipment and was always willing to say hello and treat you just like everybody else. Beyond friendly, extremely talented. Had 3 daughters, I believe, that he is leaving behind, and just extremely, extremely sad. And from everything that I've seen, completely sudden. So just everyone, shocked by it, and prayers and everything to his family, his friends, all that, because he was extremely well liked and certainly will be missed a lot.
yeah, age of 56. Like I haven't heard causes or anything like that, but everything seems to suggest it was extremely sudden. I was listening to a Rangers broadcast the other day and I didn't hear his name on the engineering front. I thought, what's going on? Like what? That must be just a one-off thing. So I can't speak to what, if any health issues he was having, but as Nick said, he was an incredible father to his 3 daughters. He talked about them all the time, was always like involved in what they were doing, and even brought them around when we were in Oxnard and when we were in Arizona. If they were around, I mean, he made it a point to see them. But he also was the hardest working engineer, like person that would be with us. I mean, we do broadcasts from 3:30 a.m. to 5 o'clock local time in California, and he would be there at 2:30 to like have it set up and stay there until 8, when basically he had to lock everything down. So genuine, so personal, and honestly, like the healthiest guy that we were around. Didn't ever drink, never like ate out excessively, and was a huge biker and like enthusiast for the outdoors. I mean, when we were in Arizona, he was hiking. When we were in California, he was biking. I will just remember Ted for being so kind to so many people. I don't know a person that has ever had a bad thing to say about that guy. And he was just such a good dude to take a good joke with, have a joke with, have a laugh with. Good sport and incredibly smart. I miss him. That's a sad one.
Well, definitely, we send our thoughts and prayers, and just a very stark contrast from our first uh, story there. So I guess that's the way
Those
you
are
want to live. Have
those are
kind of
genuine
moments.
thoughts and prayers.
Right.
Yes, definitely.
For sure.
Uh, so move on. Maybe just something a little more fun. We have a Nick hates it. Actually, you know what? We got one more story. And do we want to save this for you, Roy? I was going to talk a little about Elon and not buying Twitter, but do you want to save that?
It's up to you. We'll save it. We can save it. We can get into
We'll
it
save
later.
Okay. So we'll move on to Nick hates it. What do we got? Hold on. Do we have a Nick hates it?
Yeah, let's go. Well, it's not hateful. Well, maybe. But anyway, go ahead.
Oh. I love that thing.
All right. So my daughter turns a year old tomorrow, her first birthday. So a year into fatherhood. And all of us being dads here, I kind of wanted to bring this to the table. In just the year that I've been a dad, and things that I've learned, the things that have been the hardest, we may say that I've hated a little bit along the way, and just kind of reflect on it a little bit. And I would say the first I want to bring up is to anyone listening who may be a parent in the future to a newborn baby, to a less than a year old. I was maybe shocked is not the right word, but I was surprised at how tired I was for how long. I was like, we started sleeping, for long stretches when she was like 3 months old, but like we were just, and I mean, even still some just constantly just tired, because when she goes to bed, eventually you just start staying up, and then she wakes up early and you get up, and then it just less and less and less sleep. And everyone tells you like, oh, you're going to be tired. You're going to be tired. It's really unlike anything that I can remember. Like I worked a lot of radio shifts, like 3 hours of sleep, come right back. It's not like that. So learning to be just exhausted all the time. I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned in the year that I've been a dad. I would say that it's the least enjoyable thing about fatherhood so far. That it is just, even like changing diapers, like, I mean, blowouts. I mean, she, like a couple of days ago, changing her diaper, she just puts her hand in it, puts her hands on like herself, and we're covered, and we've got to do a whole cleanup. Even that.
You didn't eat it though, right?
No, haven't had that yet. Today we were in the living room. We're just watching TV, whatever. She's crawling around, playing with her toys are just everywhere. And of course, she's at the stage where everything goes into her mouth. And we do a pretty good job of keeping cords out of the way. But my wife had a phone charger on the ground, and I look over, and she has the cord, and it's just going like straight to her mouth. And I reached down, and I said to like yank it, and of course that made her upset because she was so excited about it. But we've had a couple close calls with like, forgot to cover an outlet, and we see her wanting to reach for it, phone charger trying to get to the mouth. So we've had a couple of close calls there, but it's been we haven't had an eating incident. We've had it in the tub. We've had to clean up the tub with her in there, but nothing that she has emptied, gone into the mouth yet. So we're lucky there.
Adam, I don't feel like I've gotten like what Nick's talking about, what he's complaining about there, right, is how little sleep he's gotten in the first year. And it sounds as if he thinks that's going to get better. And
That's what I was
I,
thinking the whole
at
time.
least with a 5
I'm
and a
still
3-year-old,
tired.
would like to say that I still enjoy a nap anytime it comes. And I don't know at what time that ends, but I would like to then pass it to Adam to assist and say if at any point in time, Adam, you feel like you are getting enough sleep with your kids a little bit older than mine, like it doesn't happen again until they're out of the house, I'm guessing.
So my youngest is 9, and I was the whole time I'm thinking you said that. I'm like, he just doesn't know, man. It's not gonna
Yeah.
stop.
Like year 1, yeah, bro. Year 1 through 18.
Well, I think, it's not that I think I'm going to get more sleep. I just am more used to it now. Like I just can function on it. But like the first 6 months, I mean, it's like survival mode. Like you're doing anything you can to but like now, I mean, I'm just used to being tired all the time. And I think that's just what parenthood is. Like for 18 years, you're just like figuring out, all right, how am I going to, be tired and make it through? Because like even on the days when I'm like most exhausted, if she naps, she still naps twice most of the time. Like I'm not going to sleep. Like I want to use that time to, I don't know, read,
do anything
stuff,
for
watch
yourself.
sports stuff. Yeah. The dishes that have piled up that I said I would do for 2 days now. I finally need to take care of those, or that's going to lead to problems. So yeah, I think I just know now that I'm just going to have to get used to being tired, like probably more so every year. But those first 6 months or so, where you're just like trying to figure out how to take care of another human and figure out when you can sleep, it's a whirlwind.
To me, it was like shell shock that first 6 to 8 months, 9 months. It was just this walking fog of like just distance, and it was your whole function was to keep that baby alive, and that's it. Everything was that, and yeah, you never really recover, because when they get older, you're their personal assistant. You manage everything
chauffeur
about their
right.
lives. Yeah.
I need to, this is a hot topic, so any parents that listen to this will probably have an opinion. We, flew last weekend. So for 4th of July weekend, we flew to New York to see my wife's family. And at DFW, it got delayed like an hour and a half. We didn't leave until 9:15 Texas time. So that's about at 2 hours some days past when she goes to bed, maybe an hour and a half. And so she's already past her bedtime. She's been awake for like 6 hours, 7 hours. And we're just pulling out all the stops, and we completely broke the dam and did full-on screen time for the majority of that flight. The last 20 minutes, she just held my wife's phone and was playing with whatever she could.
Don't feel
and
guilty.
Then we took it from her, and she screamed, but we were off the plane at that point. So once we got off the plane, we were good. But we broke out every single stop, and I think she watched the same. We screen recorded like her favorite little YouTube thing for like 10 minutes on our phones, so you could do it without Wi-Fi. I think she watched it. I mean, who knows how many times? But I think at the beginning I would have said like, oh, we're gonna avoid screens. Like we're not gonna, we don't want to have. And now it's like, if we need to get something done, just put it on, just because she's in a trance, and she's just like, like the other day I needed my wife to cut my hair. So we sat in the backyard, and like our back door is glass, and we put her in front of the door in her little chair with my laptop like up on the couch, and just put on her little show thing. And we were outside, she was inside, couldn't care less that we weren't there, just walked in. And so we've completely broken the screen time rules. That's another big thing that I would have said 12 months ago, that I wouldn't be that parent, but you never know until you're there, and that's where we're at.
What are you gonna do, man? Can't avoid it.
No, there's no way. All right. So that does it for Nick Hates It. No,
That's all I got.
All right. And now, Roy, let's get into a little Elon talk. I was going to talk a little bit about his I guess the Twitter bid is not going to happen. Is that
All
what
right,
you're
here's my
hearing?
question on that for either of you.
Okay.
Did he ever really want to buy Twitter? Or did he always say he was willing to buy Twitter under the caveat that he's now claiming, which is you can prove to me which accounts are fake and you're able to do that, right? It's verifiable information because ultimately he's pulling out of the deal now, claiming that Twitter themselves cannot monitor and verify which of their accounts are fake, right? Which of their accounts are robotic. So Elon's pulled out because of that. They're going to go to war legally as a result. But the more I step back and the more I look at it, just from that storyline standpoint, I don't know if Elon ever really thought or intended or even was trying to buy it so much as like the publicity that he bought for himself. Just being mentioned during this whole conversation as one of the richest men in the world, all this, like that in and of itself, for a guy who is kind of an ego maniac, I think that might have been worth it. Like look at how he uses his Twitter, at least before it got suspended. He primarily spends all his time trolling the masses.
Yeah.
Like,
He
do you guys
is.
think he ever intended to really buy Twitter? Do you think he really wanted to buy Twitter? Sorry, that was a long-winded run-on sentence, but I meant to ask a question there.
I
I don't think. Go ahead, Nick. Sorry.
I think I'm going to echo what you're going to say. I would lean towards no. The way I view Elon Musk, I think he's like a real life supervillain. Like he's just kind of
Lex Luthor.
Yeah, like a Lex Luthor. Like he's incredibly smart, super weird. So who knows? Like he could have, really could have. But I would lean towards no.
Yeah, I would have said no. I think he's trying to stir up trouble, I don't know why the richest man in the world needs more publicity, but put publicity, bring attention to what he was trying to prove a point, and I'm not sure I get the point. I understand what you're saying.
Stock got
bots and stuff
killed
like
as a result of it, by the way. You look at where you look at where Tesla was like a month and a half ago, it was up over 1,000. Now it's 750 today. Lost a quarter of it.
just to mess with the board of Twitter. But and I feel just like Nick. And I heard I follow Robert Reich, the Clinton Secretary of Economy.
Yep.
He's an old man, but he's funny. He broke down how Elon
Does
Musk
good
is
economy
basically
videos.
Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
So I liked his assessment of Elon Musk, that he's probably the worst capitalist to ever live.
Yeah, and here I am, saying all this terrible stuff about Elon Musk. And what did I do? I went and bought a Tesla. Yes, boys. I bought the Model Y. And for those that don't know, the model letters, do either of you know what the model letters of Tesla, what they are?
I actually don't. And I would say that I'm a big Tesla fan, and I don't know.
I saw it the other day, but I don't remember. I saw something briefly about it, but
so the model letters spell out sexy.
Okay.
And we have the Model Y. You may have heard of the Model S or the Model X or the Model E. I've never heard of a Model E.
Well, that's the Model 3, so it's a backwards.
Boom. Thank you, Nick. See, that's where the genius expert of Tesla comes in. And I am not as you can tell, not a Eli Musk sniffing his farts type of dude. I would not care if he was in the room next to me. But the idea of not having to spend any money on gas where it is right now, I am trying to do the math to figure out how it will pay for itself. And between the no gas and the no oil changes, right now they do eat up tires. I've been told you got to change tires every 20,000. But as far as oil changes, never have to make one of those. As far as gas,
you have to do emissions test.
No.
How does that work to get your registration?
Yeah, don't have to do it. I think I just have to re-register every time. I think I just have to do it online.
What, Roy, made you pull the trigger on the Tesla if you're not an Elon Musk fan, instead of waiting for one of these other more mainstream brands? You know, Ford's got a truck coming out, Volkswagen has one, Hyundai has one, all those people.
Yeah, that's just it. I mean, I guess because I'm not like a Elon Musk, disciple, it was really more so, hey, they got the best electric vehicle technology right now. Now, I know stuff is coming down the pike, but I mean, how quickly is that going to come? How many back orders are there going to be? Will they be able to get the equipment they need to do it? And then also, what will the infrastructure be like? Because Tesla's superchargers, at least in the state of Texas, are very well populated. Like they run up and down I-35, 45, like all the main highways in Texas, you can find a supercharger every like 15, 20 minutes. But they're not all electric vehicle, whatever, compatible, even though Tesla provides you with a charger that will work on any electric vehicle port, right? So you can use the electric vehicle port that's universal, but you can't use it vice versa for those new ones, right? Ford and whatever else may be coming. So I'm not a disciple of it. And I've never owned what I consider to be a luxury car. I do consider this to be a luxury car because it's got all these amenities that I consider to be luxury. Now, for you guys, you might not consider a trunk closing automatically to be a luxury item, but I do because I've never had one like that. Compress it at the click of a button. The screen, the navigation tools are really, really cool. All the customization is awesome. The fact that I can start it or kick it up or crank it up at a certain time every single morning on a schedule to be a certain temperature when I walk out of the door and waiting for me at that time every morning, like those customizable things are really, really cool. On the flip side, we don't yet have the home fast charger service that charges about 20 miles per hour. So we charge through the wall, which currently gets you 4 miles per hour. And as I stated to you guys, the reality is when you got AC running full speed, you're getting about a half a mile to the mile of what it's telling you. So depending on how far we need to go, right, we've got to then run to another supercharger or make time to go to a supercharger locally because the superchargers will charge it from 10% to 90% in 25 minutes. So that's my big rundown on Tesla. Like it's been great cost efficiency wise. Make no mistake about it. And it is a nice, comfortable ride. If I spent $60,000 on a luxury vehicle from another luxury vehicle brand, Mercedes and Audi, something like that, might I have gotten more bang for my buck? Yeah. From a gas vehicle, hell yeah, I think is the answer to that. So that's kind of where the balance is, right? Now, granted, at the same time, I see the Model Y going used 2022 version, same as mine, for $77,000. And we got it for 61. And now it's being sold by Tesla for 68. So who knows where they're going to go further, right? Until the other competition steps into the market and starts to bring that cost down. I mean, shoot, remember these same Teslas were 39 a couple of years ago. Like maybe a year and a half or 2 years ago, they were 39 and I paid 61 and I feel like we got a deal.
Yeah, that's
I didn't pay that. I'm financing that, but you know what I mean.
Now, who gets the primary? Whose car is it? Your
you get to set
car,
profile. So when I get there with my phone, it picks up the Bluetooth on my phone and the seat moves back for me, moves into my back position and my recline position and my seating position. When my wife comes in, same thing for her. and all her settings are customizable. Her mirrors will adjust to her liking. Her temperature will adjust to her liking, right? Versus what I might like. Her music, her radio settings, or her TuneIn, Spotify settings, because all those are accessible on there as well. Hell, if the car's parked, you can watch Netflix.
Well, I guess more of my question was, if you're both needing a car, who gets the Tesla, and do you have two cars? Or
are you kidding me, dude? Welcome to marriage. Are you kidding me? I work from home, so that's like her excuse, right? The whole idea was she's going to drive it to work and save money on her daily habits, and I'll keep the gas guzzler at home, and I'll use it on the rare occasion I need a vehicle, right? But yeah, trust me, the last new car we got, guess who else that was for? It wasn't for me. That's the hint. So what does that tell you?
You see, I'm in the opposite situation, but the same result. Every time we get a new car, it's for my wife, but she works from home, and I'm always out running around with the business and stuff. So I'm always out using the van, driving, and my poor truck just sits there, and we drive it about once a month, maybe twice a month. So, yeah.
Well,
I do all the running around, and I don't get the car.
When she goes back to work this week, I'll never get to drive that thing except on the weekends.
We're talking about a minivan. It's not like I'm rolling around in a Tesla or a luxury car.
Well, I'll give you guys the reviews when my father-in-law gets the Cybertruck in a couple of months.
That's ugly. That's the ugly one, right?
It's so ugly, dude. He's obsessed with it. I just think it's like comical. I'm looking forward to riding in it with him for the comedic aspect of it. I think it's funny.
Oh, that's great. Well, old Elon makes a good car, not a good Twitter CEO apparently, but is that what we got from you today, Roy?
Not a good flight passenger either.
No. Why does he fly? Like, doesn't he not have a private jet?
I think that experience he was involved in was on his private jet. No.
Oh, it was. Oh, I'm thinking of somebody else. Yes, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Ignore I said all that. I'm trying to produce. I'm trying to get everybody's camera right.
You're
I'm pulling up the
great,
next
man.
thing.
You're doing great. Don't give yourself a hard time. Producing's hard,
man.
man. Nick and I know. So when you're trying to, run the board and like also contribute, it's not easy, and it's tougher than it looks. So
yes. I'm learning this, but
I think it's okay to break down that fourth wall and talk it through, man.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Better that than like someone like getting mad because it's not working right.
The worst is like calling for if you're ever listening to like a radio show, they're like, all right, and Dak Prescott was at training camp, and he had something to say about CeeDee Lamb. Well, I guess our producer's not going to play like they do the call out when the audio doesn't play, and they're like,
awful, man. Awful.
Nick's tied up doing something. He's like, no, the computers won't work, or Adobe Audition's like, frozen. But you get, you never get the shout out. You just get, called out.
You just never. I don't know, man. That's experienced too much of it on the other side of it. Like, hey, man, have a little grace here and there for everybody, because the more you do, the better it comes off. I think, like, as a product. Maybe it doesn't always sound as crisp and clean, but it is authentic. It's not like overproduced, which I think is something people are guilty of these days sometimes.
Yeah, we'll never be accused of that, but thank you guys.
Amen.
That's good.
Cheers
good stuff.
to that.
That's Roy's segment.
Sorry.
No, TV and movies. All right, I only got two things to talk about. First is I saw the new Thor movie, and then I guess me and Roy, we got to talk about the Boys finale, season 3 finale.
Oh, was this out last week? I thought this was
Friday.
So it was like I thought it happened last week. So it was like perfect. I could talk about it without me here.
Well, we did talk a little about it, but yeah, so Friday was the finale, but as I'm putting this down, I'm like, well, Nick's not going to contribute at all to this. He doesn't like Marvel movies, and he hasn't watched season 3.
Well, and that's where I almost kind of like, hey, all right, the finale just happened. I know we've talked through each episode up to this point, but I don't want to like spoil it for people who haven't watched or, are still maybe interested in it. And so I would almost say, hey, we can hold off the talking of, that outside of just saying, I mean, I just really enjoy the show, and I've been telling so many people about it. The two things, like Adam, if you were describing it, like the first thing I think I kind of warn people about is that there's an aspect of gore porn-y. There's an aspect of gore porn to it. And when I say gore porn, what I always think about, the first thing I ever saw where I experienced that was the Saw franchise. Yeah. If you ever saw Saw or were into it, right, there were people that couldn't possibly watch those movies because of what would happen to the people, right? Jaws getting ripped off of your face and you seeing the result, or bodies getting twisted into pretzels. But I hate to admit, I was one of those people that did like it. Now, I would never do that to anybody. I want to be clear. But I did enjoy watching the psychological aspect of it. So you have to, I say all that for the boys, you need to be prepared for that, because blood and guts, gore, organs, brains, eyeballs, you name it, you will see it.
I just have one question about the boys. Will there be another season? Just a yes or no?
Yes. They're already filming it.
Okay. Gotcha.
Or here in July, at the end of July, they're starting to film it. Adam, have you not seen that?
Yeah, I didn't know when they were going to start filming it, but I know it'd been greenlit. It was definitely coming. Yeah. So I have a pretty hot sports opinion on this whole season, but I don't know if I want to. I think it might be a spoiler, so we might have to table it. But and it's yeah. So we could put that to the side. But I do want to talk about Thor: Love and Thunder. I'm assuming neither of y'all gotten out to see it yet.
Absolutely not.
Hadn't got out that quick, man.
Well, so that was open on Thursdays, and we like to go out to the movies, especially in the middle of the week. So when we can get a Thursday showing, we'll go, because it's usually not that crowded where we go. So you saw Ragnarok, right, Roy?
I did. Sorry, I should have said you're directing all that at me, because Nick did not. Yeah, I did. Loved it.
I haven't seen a Marvel movie in. It's probably been more than 5 years.
You're missing out. You're a slave to your own bit, my man. You're a slave to your own bit.
Probably true. Probably true.
No, it's. The first Thor movie was kind of introductory. All right, Iron Man. Ragnarok was legitimately funny, authentically great characters, good storyline, good movie.
So this is a sequel to Ragnarok in a lot of ways. Same kind of energy, same kind of feel. But my big thing is I think it took the goofiness way too far, that it took away from the action scenes. It took away from the kind of more serious moments.
Okay. That's what I was trying to say by the trend of what they went from 1 to 2. 1 was a serious, superhero, almost cliche lines that you would hear from a superhero. 2 was quippy, almost office type sarcasm and, deadpan humor. And it sounds like the next one is even further beyond that, maybe too much.
Yeah, and the one Korg is just he really there's times when he's interacting and saying his funny quip, it seems like it really kills the pace of the movie. It kind of kills what you're why do you have to say that? I'm getting real into this, about to be a battle, and Korg's oh, come on guys, wait for me, So
man, everybody loved him. He was the character I was thinking of that brought that comedic He was not a Jar Jar Binks by any stretch of the imagination. He was like an additional add that brought something to Ragnarok, big time.
Yeah.
In fact, without him, the whole Gladiator situation and sequence would have been terrible.
Yeah. And it really loved him in that. It's just, they take it a little more over the top, but it's not bad. It's a good movie. I'd put it in the lower part of the better movies. So
many of them. What does that put it at, like 16?
Something like that.
I don't know. There's literally probably like 30 of them. If you start throwing in the Disney miniseries, it's beyond.
I don't even want to try.
I'm lost count.
As in, Nick has lost consciousness while we're talking about Marvel movies.
Well,
over there.
I'm watching a video on Twitter of some seals chasing people around on a beach.
I saw that. Yes.
Just as a superhero foot talk.
Have you seen that, Roy?
The seals chasing people on a beach?
Yeah.
No.
That's
funny.
Yeah. It's two seals, a whole crowd. It's a crowded beach, and they're just running away.
Yeah, terrified. I mean, I'd be pretty scared.
Are seals like dangerous?
Yeah,
they are. Right?
I think they can be. Yeah,
they're huge.
But could they be friendly? Like, is there like they're not like hippopotamuses, are they? They're not just going to maul you to death
like that.
But imagine if they took one of the papers and like got you across the face, like that's
yeah.
But imagine if it was your best friend
today, but
I don't know.
Rudy Giuliani is pressing charges on a seal. Let's just say that.
Oh God, the seal would break him, shatter all his little heart valves. So that's our TV talk for today. Do you want to get into sports? We got a few more minutes probably. Not a ton to talk about. Baker trade. I know Nick, you're a big Zion guy. He got paid.
I want to hear Nick's thoughts on Zion. Seriously, like, all right, Nick.
Yeah,
Zion played 85 games. He just got paid a max deal. Like, he's had some Twitter shorts of like him jumping again, I guess. Yeah. So that's exciting enough. Dude, is this too far, or is this like what they have to do?
Well, I'm wearing my Duke shirt right here. So I'm a big Duke fan. And that's why
I know you'll be objective and honest about this.
No, I love Zion. He's an incredible college player. That was like the last year I really like dabbled in actual like draft opinions where as a hobby watched guys.
Nick loves Kyrie too. He's a big Duke guy.
Actually, I never liked Kyrie.
Of course not, because he's dope.
But I like Zion. I liked Zion more than Ja coming out. Like, I'll admit that was wrong, obviously. But I was one of those people that had him above Ja Morant. This was the worry that he would get some sort of foot injury, something seemingly minor, and that would affect all of his athleticism. And he's missed, an entire season now. There is zero chance I would have given him this deal if it was up to me. I think he could be electric. I think he'd be awesome. The Pelicans have, pretty decent core if he's healthy and playing well with Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum. I think he could be great. Obviously exciting, a huge brand, but it worries me to see that. If I'm a Pelicans fan, I'm feeling pretty nervous. Because he hasn't done anything to prove that he deserves that. All that to say, if he is healthy, and I think this is an interesting, this is a thought that I've had this past draft season. So Chet Holmgren, one of the number one players in this class, super tall, really skinny, but like great player. Zion, kind of the opposite, shorter guy, pretty stocky, and people were like, oh, his body, his athleticism won't hold up. Chet Holmgren, he's too small, he's too thin, he's going to get beat up in the NBA. I would love to poll people and just see which one they think is more worrisome, like people that do this for a living, because both of them worry a little bit. The thing about Zion is now that he's had this injury, it's like, can he stay healthy? Can he manage that? So I think he's awesome. I think he can be a really good player. Don't think he'll ever be top of the league guy at this point. There's too many good players in the NBA. He doesn't have a shot, like a jump shot, enough to like take over a game. NBA defenders are good enough, especially if you send two of them, like when he's trying to get in the lane, that they could slow him down. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully he's healthy. It'll be exciting, but I certainly wouldn't have paid him what they did. But like you said, kind of have to. The Mavericks aren't alone in that free agents really just don't change teams that often. Like, it doesn't, like, as much as we complain about it, like, big time free agents go to the same markets or they stay where they're at. And so either they're going to pay him or he's going to go somewhere else.
I think that's fairly said. And you're right. He don't got a shot. If he did, he'd have no problem actually keeping up with the best scores in the NBA. The last time he played 61 games in 2020, he averaged 27 points a game, and he only shot 29% from three. In today's NBA, that is a unicorn. That's more of a unicorn than the 7-footer that can hit the three. Right? Back in the day, the Dirks of the world were like now that's a Chet every other year. And the Zions of the world, that's the one that's like the toughest thing to say what it's going to be in today's NBA, because you could have all that bounce, you can have all that unstoppability. Like, he's got the LeBron freight train mentality, probably at a higher level than LeBron did, certainly at a higher level than LeBron did at that same age. And he is that unstoppable. But gosh, dude, like, talk about being in between a rock and a hard place. Yeah, you got to do it, but I wouldn't want to. Wouldn't want to right now.
Yeah, and that was kind of the question was, do you have to do it? Do you want to do it? And yeah, that's a scary proposition to pay that guy that much money.
Like, it's hard for me to project, as excitable as I get about it, Zion Williams. It's hard for me to project him amongst like the 7 or 8 best players in the NBA anytime soon. I mean, gosh, maybe he can change my mind in one season, but I mean, when I think of all the young talent that's around his age, I mean, Luka and Ja are basically the same age. Are both of them better? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, is LaMelo Ball potentially like on his way to be better? I mean, that's just 3 guys that I can pull out of a hat, not really thinking that hard about it. So, yeah, the NBA is weird in terms of like how much teams have to invest, and then probably like the majority of the times it doesn't feel like they hit. Look at what the Nets did. They are tearing it down 2 effing years later, a year later, basically. They're tearing it down.
I mean, it's similar to like the NFL and quarterbacks. Like, either you pay Kirk Cousins a huge contract and you're fine, like maybe you make the playoffs, or you don't, and now you don't have a quarterback at all.
Yeah, now you don't have a quarterback.
Like, what do? You could be the Broncos and like have Peyton Manning and then be in quarterback purgatory for 7 years. Draft guys, they don't work out, and then you got to trade for Russell Wilson. Like, kind of that same. It feels sort of the same.
Yeah, you got to have that guy, or you're just gonna kind of flounder around. You end up with your Sam Darnolds or your Baker Mayfields now if you're Carolina. So, yeah, interesting topic how they pay people in the NBA. Any thoughts on Jalen Brunson? We didn't talk about it last week, Nick.
I mean, it's just really kind of what we all thought. I think just kind of confirmed. Upsetting. But at the same time, I don't know if I would have wanted to pay him as much as the Knicks did. Now, granted, the Mavericks are certainly worse without him. So, again, kind of a catch-22. I mean, if you do it, you're great. But if not, now you're left trying to find somebody else who can handle the ball. And they really only have 2 ball handlers right now, so they've got to figure something out. But good for him. Never going to get mad at him for making more money, getting paid, playing for his dad, all that good stuff. But it's a bummer as a fan for sure.
Mavs are playing this smart for the long haul because what they know is that Knicks fans are going to be done and out on Jalen Brunson after about a half a season when they realize he's not the guy that's capable of elevating an entire team around him. And at that point, maybe they'll look at that contract and go, "Oh, we maybe need to jettison some of this. We'll pay some of this to let him go." And that's when the Mavericks can jump back in, right? A la JJ Barea, right? Make a great deal to get a veteran back here. Not saying he's not better than JJ, but you get kind of what I'm saying there, right? JJ went and got his free agent deal in Minnesota, was basically a nothing, came back to the Mavericks and kind of resurrected his NBA career. I'm not saying Jalen's going that direction. He's going to be an NBA player no matter what. But I think the Knicks are going to – I think like fans will turn on him as they have almost for every other player that's come through there that hasn't been capable of being the guy. They haven't found the guy yet. And unfortunately for Jalen – like not unfortunately, you say great for him. He's getting paid as a result of it. But I also do – like, it's like probably 70-30 where I'm like, hey, great for him. But also, man, I feel kind of shitty for him because I think exactly what I just described is going to happen is 100% what's going to take place. And he's not going to be appreciated or loved by Knicks faithful.
Yeah, and that impression I think they all have is those first 2 games in Utah. And that's more of an anomaly. He's not that kind of guy.
Games get guys paid, man. Remember a guy by the name of Jerome Jones back in the day. It might have been when it was for the Seattle Supersonics. But he had one series where he averaged a double-double and got paid a huge sum in the offseason. At the time, it was like $6 million a year. It felt like a huge number. And he just ghosted after a year after that. It was terrible.
Hey, some guys that happens to. But our last story I'm going to skip because I think it might go really long. So I think that's all I got for today. Either of you have anything else before we go?
Got nothing. Enjoy the cruise.
It's already 9 o'clock. Oh, thank you. Yeah, so look out next week if we get together. Be Roy and Nick running it without me. So I'll see. Regardless, I'll see everybody in about 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, probably. So, till we see you again, stay above average.